final presentation for our marketing class. I did my written portion over this advertisement right here. As you can see, it is an advertisement for the Tampa Bay Convention Center run by the City of Tampa. And I got this pamphlet from our offices. I actually work there. I've been talking about them in our journals throughout the semester. So I thought it would be very fitting to go over a actual advertising from something I had been talking about all semester. Now, this is not a brand new advertising. It's actually about 5 to 7 years old, and I could not find details on how it was released or distributed because that marketing employee had been gone. But there's a stack of these still sitting in the administration offices. So I thought it would be a good option to analyze one of these guys. So as you can see from the top, we've got our title on this side, and then our images, a bunch of images on the side here as far as the layout goes, and then you've also got right here is the text, or the message really. So when taking a look at this, I went first of all and looked at the target market and thought to myself, it's a very general advertising. As you can see on here, there's a lot of general photos that talk about the Tampa things to visit Tampa with. So you've got the airport, Ybor, and then there's even a Busch Gardens photo. And some of these photos, there's no context. They just put them on there. And then, of course, there are 2 convention center photos as well as a photo of just the downtown skyline. And then you have the message as well as a title. And the message really kind of puts it in a direction at least. The message directs you towards event planners because it talks about the space, about the exhibit hall space and the ballroom. And of course, the first thing you can see is it says event in real big. So I really took down and said that they were targeting outside event planners, people outside the city, because there's things about the city on here more than there's focus on what's in the convention center. So I'd say there's more focus on advertising for people outside of Tampa Bay that are event planners. And because there's so much focus on water, you can see up here on the side, there's a lot of water as a background. And then, of course, in this photo down here, you have the water there, and there's water there on that photo, and then water even on the other corner of this one as well. So water is just kind of a big present thing. So outside of the nation where they don't see much water, or not outside the nation, but outside the state where they're not surrounded in water, I think it's a big focus as far as the target demographics, people who are not in tropical areas that will want to have their events in our tropical area. So then moving on to the purpose of it all, I think it kind of ties together there. It seems split because there is the focus on the outside of the convention center, options on this side, and then the internal statistics on the convention center on this side. So I think the purpose is very 50-50. I don't know if they're trying to talk about the people inside the convention center and what we have to offer as a convention center, or what you have as external events. And that's one of the things I'll talk about later as far as focusing in on a specific purpose. And the message kind of goes along with that. The title is very generic, just like most of the advertising. Take your event to the next level. Man, you could see that on any event advertising. You could just throw that title on any event advertising and it would work. So I think that could use some improvement, but it's part of the message content. And then the subtitle, your treasurable event awaits. And treasurable is the pun here. That treasure is what the Tampa Bay area is known for because of its pirate background. And then all of the message here is specifics about the square footage and all of the details about the convention center itself. Views from water really reinforces that. And then as the message continues with a little map and a QR code that takes you to our website for more information. So that's the message there. And then as far as execution goes, kind of stems back to the target market and purpose a little bit. The execution, it seems a little off. It's a little 50-50 because they talk about awe-inspiring views and exquisite dining options, and they're just kind of lofty general statements. And then at the bottom, it talks about square footages. And I think which one are they going for? The execution there just seems a little off to me. And then the same with the generic kind of overarching style there. But that's what they're executing. The combination there of the images as well as the text is kind of the blend on that one. And then layout, as an overall layout, you can see they use a lot of squares down this side right here, even this one here, and then a big square, and then there's a little bit of a curve you can see, but mainly just square photos that are aligned, as well as the text box that's also square. And on the layout, if you look really closely, might be hard to see on the camera, but the white lines are not all perfect. And then down here, it's not lined up as well. The squares aren't perfectly set. So the layout is a little off, and it also doesn't train your eye to go around. As popular marketing analysts have looked at, you can see that people start in the top right-hand corner and travel around. This feels very 50-50. If you look right here, just down the line, all of your images are on this side and your text is on this side. So it kind of gives a half and half kind of definition of the article itself. So I kind of talked a little bit about what I would do as far as suggestions go. But one of the big things I'm thinking is to really focus in on one of the purposes, whether it be to focus in on what we bring as a city and what you can do outside of your events, or focus in on what the convention center has. So if you're focusing in on the convention center itself, adding more statistics, getting rid of some of the opinionated things here and adding more like solid data, as well as replacing some of these images from the outside with things that are inside the convention center. Maybe a picture of the expo hall, a picture of the meeting centers, and make the marketing go that direction, or go the opposite direction and have a article that's based upon outside, like I said. So you change up the square footages and you say, oh, 2 theme parks, 1 zoo, you've got 30 different restaurants and things that they can do. So just kind of spacing it up that way. The second thing is really working on the message, which kind of ties into that first suggestion, but it's very, very generic as far as the messaging goes. The title, like I said, you could put this title on any advertising and it would still work. And maybe coming back to the treasure statement and using that to catch the eye. Because right now, as far as catching the eyes go, if you don't like water, this doesn't catch your eye. You don't like the color blue. So blue and water is really what you see from far away. And if I take it back, what you see in big text up here is event and level. Those are just 2 generic words. It doesn't really bring you in as far as the level. What does level have to do with anything, really? Because it's not like our convention center is 6 stories tall and is bringing it to a real new level. And it's only 3 stories. It's not very big as far as height goes. So maybe reworking the title there. And then the last thing, as a suggestion, lining up their font. There's missing a parentheses. The lines, like I said, are not even. So making it prettier, making it more organized, more nice to the eye when you look at it is my third recommendation. And then wrapping up as a conclusion, talking about a global scale. I think you could do something generic like this, but you would need to focus on what is intrinsic value for visiting Florida as well as Tampa Bay in specific, because most people in an international market, they're going to think Miami if they're going to come have an event on the global scale. So you're coming in from Europe or Asia, you're going to go to Miami or Orlando, because Orlando's got a big convention center where you can do whatever you need to do in the States. And then Miami has a lot of cultural background, another large convention center, as well as just being known, a city that people like to visit from outside, because you're going to have global contenders. So I said that Tampa would need to focus on what is intrinsic value that separates them and a reason they would want to come visit. And I think really honing in on the beaches as far as Clearwater and St. Petersburg go, of how nationally renowned they are, and then focusing on more of those things. So taking these images of an airport and the Ybor. Ybor is okay, but if you wanted to switch these pictures of cigars and move that to a beach picture, and then your message reflect that. So you have messages that have to do with #1 beach in America, the temperatures, and maybe a statistic about what kind of size you can hold as far as that goes. Because some people don't want Orange County as far as that goes. They want a smaller convention center. So just focusing on the differences. And I did make a big point, if you're going to go to a global scale, because being a tier 2 convention center, we don't get much global presence as it is. If you're going to make that step, go look at what Miami does as far as their global marketing. Look at what Orlando does as far as their global marketing, because someone else has probably done that exact convention center global marketing, and you can ask them about it, look at what they do, and then mimic that so that you can be successful in a global market. And that might even come to talking to a European convention center, maybe an Asian convention center, and how do they market to us? Looking at their advertising is going to be important as well, to put that into your marketing. So just kind of my touch on making this guy a global situation there. So that is all for my presentation and my analysis on the advertising of the Tampa Bay Convention Center. There's a lot of good constructive criticism that can be done to this, and I wish I knew more details as far as what these specifics were on, how it was shipped, and how it was distributed, because that would, shore up a lot of the analysis. But it is nice to have just kind of an ad to talk about, and gives you a lot more to go into and discuss and analyze. So it's been a wonderful semester, and that's where we will end it for now. You have a wonderful day now.